So today we're going to look at how I quickly prototype an AI-powered application to bookmark LinkedIn posts using Algolia and Algolia new MCP server that we released a couple of weeks ago. All right, before we jump into what we built, a few words about myself. So I'm Alex. I've been with Algolia for over 10 years now. My background is in technology, but I've taken on different roles here at Algolia, from former and first solution engineer, solution architect, up to product manager. And those days I'm responsible for our UX center of expertise, helping our customer understand what good looks like so they can really craft the best-in-class experiences, not just through code, but in terms of user experience as well. But enough talking about myself. Let's jump into the app I built today and I'd like to share with you. So how did that start? Basically, I've been struggling with LinkedIn, where I spend more and more time. I'm not much a Twitter X person. I'm more a LinkedIn person, and I get to face a lot of great content, right? And oftentimes, either I want to save it to revisit later, to read it later, or just because I'd like to share it maybe in the future with some friends or colleagues. And while LinkedIn have a feature to save, it turns out that it's not necessarily the most easy and feature-proof features that they have, right? So to do save a post, you need to go on the three dots, click save, then you have to find the save items, which is already a bit of a struggle, but you only do it once. And then once you get there, you get to see your save post along with other stuff, learnings, jobs, and so on. But there is no search, no filter, no sorting. And as you can imagine, as a person who worked for that long at Algolia, this is not acceptable, right? I like to have something where I can really easily navigate through my LinkedIn bookmarks and not every time having to go through long, extensive list. Because Algolia is all about speed and user experience, right? So like here in this demo, we see that on our blog post, basically this is a demo we have on our website where we actually can search blog post on algolia.com at the speed of keystrokes, right? So either through facets, filters, or just like at every single keystroke. And so I was like, this is not acceptable. Let's fix that. So here's how I started. Like I started looking at drafting on paper, and I'm like, how should this app work, right? I'm the user, I go on LinkedIn, so that's step one. I should be able to save. Then ultimately, whatever I save should go to Algolia, right? So this is available in Algolia. We'll see in a few seconds how I did this. And then this should come up on a page, as on the demo before, where we brought the blog post. And then ultimately, me as a user, I can consume that page and just easily navigate my different posts. So I sit down and thought about it, and I was like, okay, we have this new MCP that's really easing up how we can actually integrate with Algolia. I need also this to work on LinkedIn. So why don't I build a Chrome extension so I can augment capabilities of LinkedIn? And then I also need some kind of backend, right, to handle the logic of I click on save and then it needs to do some magic and push it to Algolia. And so for this, I used an AI-powered workflow on the n8n platform. So for the one of you who are not familiar yet with n8n, it's a workflow orchestration platform, which really shine in the sense that it's no code, low code, right? So with very minimal effort, just drag and dropping blocks, configuring, you can already orchestrate a pretty strong logic on the backend. And it's become very popular over the past few months, thanks to their new AI agent. They have a node called AI agent where you can plug a model and a series of tools, and it does things for you. The same way as you would interact with ChatGPT or Claude, but here it does it within a workflow. So it's amazing. So it's not the only one. There are many tools like this, like Meg, Zapier, Longflow, and many others. But in that case, I decided to go with n8n. What about I start with a live demo so we can look at what I built, and then we're going to look at how we build it. All right, cool. So here I'm on my LinkedIn. I get fresh post. I'm just here. I'm like, okay, cool. I like this. All right, Christina is talking about something. All right, let's save this post from Christina. That looks really interesting. So in that case, I have my Chrome Dev tool open. So we're going to see the request. First, what I need to do is this is my n8n workflow. I need to set it up in listening mode. So it's going to listen. In the browser as well, I have my Chrome extension I built. So it's loaded here. It's all good. Perfect. So now I'm what we can see is that, first of all, it added an extra button. This is thanks to the Chrome extension. I have a new button called Save, which is just unique to me, right? So when I click here, we see it makes a call. And what it does is basically it contacts my n8n workflow, and it starts navigating across multiple nodes, from enriching the data with AI up to actually saving the content to Algolia. This content that we have here. So basically, when you send a request, we can look deeper here. We have a payload, and basically all the content from that post gets sent to the n8n workflow, right? And once this is done, it actually goes to an Algolia index that I did set up prior. So here, Bookmark Manager, this is the name of my index. I already have some configuration and so on. And then I refresh this index, we should see that it got actually indexed. And in the context of this app, I even went a step further. The demo I showed you on our blog post, I actually cloned the code, I forked the code, and I actually put my own credentials and attribute and so on. And so I was able to build that very neat experience in just a few minutes, right? So here I could search for, show me stuff I search for MCP or DevBits. It's very convenient. Or even Chuck mentioned something that around Lucas Bonomi, right? So that's the post that you're going to see later. Cool. So as you can see, it's very responsive and it's very convenient to use. I can filter by date. I can still filter by offer, but this is what I decided to build. I could actually go beyond and really leverage all Algolia capabilities. Please note that this demo doesn't include our neural search capabilities, but Algolia also provide vector search through our neural search product. So ultimately, with more work, what I could do is I could do like just search by context and not just keyword, right? So that's for the app. And behind the scene, there's a bit of code. There's a Chrome extension. No need to get into details. All the code is going to be shared on LinkedIn, on GitHub, so you can actually look at it at your convenience afterwards. All right, so what did I get to build? A few artifacts. As I said, first of all, the Chrome extension. How did I do it? Very easily using Claude. So as I said, my background has been in software engineering, but I don't code on a daily basis anymore. And so I must admit that it's been really helping me to be able just to instruct Claude and get to review and iterate on the code. It allowed me to do a very good job in a very small amount of time. So that coding has been great. Then I used n8n, on which we touched on already. And then we used Algolia for both the search capabilities and the well-known instant search library to do the as you type experience. So if we look more in detail, as we said, the Chrome extension adds a new button here, saves. What I did basically, I took a screenshot. I just took the HTML markup and I said, Claude, here I'd like to add a button, save next to send. Can you do that? And it just like it happened. It added the code for me in the Chrome extension. That's been really convenient. Then I asked this another question to Claude. I said, okay, cool. Here's a blog post, on LinkedIn. Please extract all that content and format it in a way which is easy for me to consume in n8n in a JSON format. And so you can see that it did a good job as well at just creating a JSON that makes sense for me to consume in n8n. Once we've done that, I actually built the n8n workflow, and let's dig more into it. So here I have. So the workflow is composed of 3 main blocks, right? The first one is receive the bookmark item. So we have a first node called webhook. Basically, this one exposes a URL, which when it gets called with a post HTTP request, will receive whatever is passed to the post body, right? Very straightforward. Then I have a small switch. Basically, my extension supports 2 actions, save and remove. Right now, I just clicked on save. So if I do click on save, it does move to the next functional area, which I build around enriching my payload thanks to AI. So here, this is the first time I use AI agent node, to which I plug Claude Sonnet as a model. And I instructed with a specific prompt. I say, okay, you are an expert content classifier helping enrich bookmark from LinkedIn. You should analyze the post content and return structured metadata in a valid JSON format. And here's the field you should extract: primary topic, content type, theme, language. And I even went a bit crazy. I said, like, can you also tell me if it's AI generated and provide me a confidence score, right? So for me to be able to kind of filter against the content that is produced on LinkedIn and which leverages more and more AI. So this is what it does. And so as a result of this, what we can see here, this is the output. On the input, we pass the payload, basically my LinkedIn post. And on the right side, we get the output. Like here, it's been classified as marketing content, company news. Here's the themes, the language, and so on. Once this is done, I can actually merge this new content with the previous content, reshape a bit the JSON with a bit of JavaScript. Again, I didn't write this JavaScript myself. I just asked Claude to do it for me. And here's the interesting piece. It actually moves to the last functional area, which is around indexing data. And so again, we use an AI agent, but compared to previously, what we do is we link to a tool, and we link with a tool called Algolia MCP server. So what's an MCP server? Basically, this is a new protocol exposed by Anthropic few months ago, which is meant to standardize how LLMs, how models can actually talk to APIs. So in this, you can see it as a USB, but for APIs. In the same way, USB standardize all the devices you connect to your laptop, right? Here, MCP standardizing how the APIs expose themselves so the LLM can talk to them without having to need a custom integration for each of those. And so, as many other companies here at Algolia, with this focus on developer first experience and API first design, we also released two MCP server available both on GitHub. One is in JavaScript, and this is the one I used, and another one is in Go. So I'll let you go have a look. And so once this is done, basically what it allows me to do is I don't need to connect Algolia and specify the REST API endpoint anymore, or what are the credentials and so on. The AI agent is going to figure this out for me, right? I just need to say you have access to the save and partial update methods. And then the agent, with a bit of prompting, is going to figure out what to do. So here's the instruction have been workflow steps. On the bookmark manager index, read the action, in which case is save here, and then select the appropriate Algolia tool. You want to use save tool when it's saved, remove, and so on. I could have gone with even less instruction, but the more precise you are, the less prone to error it is. And so here, then it asks more things, and I just pass the payload, basically all the JSON, both from the original post plus enriched with AI. And once this is done, basically here what we can see on the debug here is that the AI agent is going to resonate, right? It's going to list the tools and so on, up to actually sending the right request to Algolia. So here we can see we have an output, and it says like, create the blog post. This is basic, sorry, this is a response, but as an input, it just formed an Algolia, a valid Algolia request using the save object and passed that to Algolia so Algolia can index it. So I hope this makes sense. So that's for the workflow. I hope you like the project. Ultimately, it's been very interesting for me to build. I like the way how it was easy to build thanks to vibe coding. Really think it's never been as easy to bring ideas to life, and I'm really happy to have this app now. It's going to take me way less time to find out the different things I save. There's a true opportunity using AI agents via LLMs and MCP. I can only recommend you to give it a try if you haven't had a chance yet, or with the Algolia one, if you used MCP server but not the Algolia one. The link will be provided in the conversation. And it was good to use Algolia for that specific use case, in the sense that Algolia really unlocks the user experience, right? As we can see, regardless where your data is, you can really make it super fast and build very interactive experiences, regardless of the data you push. So that's for where I am. And as next iteration, I'm thinking to support more LinkedIn post types, like already supports like images, videos, but it doesn't support yet the PDFs and some other. And also, I think an important piece, this has been great for demoing, for prototyping, to get something to life quickly and easily. But it's very important as well to keep in mind that it does consume tokens, which may turn to be expensive. And so it's really worth also, before using that at scale, to sit down and ask ourselves, is it optimized for token consumption and so on, and see what can be done. So that's it for me today. I hope you liked the talk. There's 2 follow-up links I've made available on GitHub, the project. So go take a look, play with it. And if you'd like to, and we'd like to continue the conversation with you, and the best place for this is to actually do it through the Algolia Discord, where Chuck and other people are connected. And I will make sure also to connect so I can answer questions there after the conference. Thanks very much. Do we have questions, Chuck?
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for the shout out on the Discord server. We absolutely love to have new folks come out there. We have I made this channel where you can kind of show us fun stuff that you're building too. I can tell you the Q&A is full of, I need this, I want this, we can benefit from this, where can I get this kind of stuff. So we did have a link to the GitHub repo. I think that's in the chat channel as well. Is that really all they need, Alex, to get started, is just to go pull what's down from the repo? Or is there any other pieces that they're going to need?
I think the repo, at least right now, is showing the different pieces. So I've put the Chrome extension, my workflow, and so on. It's not a fully functional app in the sense that you would just spin off a Docker image and it does work. There's a bit of work to be done, but at least there's like examples of every functional pieces that I got to build. So with a little of work, I assume that it should be easy to get up and running, and probably with the help of Claude or ChatGPT. Don't refresh yourself using a LLM for this.
Exactly. And I think I know the answer to this one, but I'm going to pose it to you anyway. People are asking, does this work, the MCP in particular, does it work on the build plan, on the free tier, or do you need a special plan to get it to work?
Yeah, it just works with any plan. The MCP, think about it, this is just an interface, right? It's just a convenient way for an LLM, a model, to talk to Algolia. But what the MCP server does is just like exposing the REST API, right? It's just a new additional layer for LLMs, but again, behind the scene, it's Algolia REST API, and everything you already know about Algolia or you would learn on our doc remains valid.
Right. It's kind of a translation layer. So rather than having to train the models directly on every API, you can give them this abstracted MCP JSON file that allows them to understand how they can go call those APIs without having to know the API itself.
If I would want to integrate weather in my app, in the past, I would have to go check the documentation of the weather API and so on, understand how it works, make the right calls. Here, I can just import an MCP server for a weather service, and the LLM can directly discuss with that service, right? There's no need to wire things up manually anymore.
Right on. And so Bree is asking, can this provide summaries of the results similar to Searchcraft's MCP server?
Yeah, I think it could, definitely. As we expose in the API the search method, right? We can imagine the LLM to get instructed to say, okay, make a search, get n results, and then make a summary of it. Definitely.
Right on. Yeah, you could either put that summary directly into your search record ahead of time, or you could summarize it on the back end as you retrieve them out of the index.
Correct.
Thank
and
you so much.
Use like MCP in the context of n8n, but you can use it in Claude or anywhere that is MCP compatible.
Right on. Awesome. Well, we're going to have to end it there, unfortunately, but I think this has opened up people to a lot of interesting ideas. So thank you, Alex. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. It was great. Thank you.
Right on.